Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It is the 13th. It's February. It's 2025. And we don't even know if any of that is true, but whatever. So I want to remind you of a few things because there's a lot of what I consider really good people that are still under the impression that Donald Trump is somehow for the people. He's for you and I. He's here to fix things. I hate to break it to you, but if you want to be awake, you need to be awake. And apparently the truth is something people absolutely hate.
I make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you.
And millions have put their trust in Donald Trump. They somehow think he's here to save the country. And yet the first thing he does is go to the inaugural prayer service with a gay female bishop. Now, if you know your Bible, you know your Bible. Everything about this particular person standing right here is 110% wrong. And I know 110% isn't right. Maybe Elon Musk will release Doge upon me and fix my percentage rates. And speaking of that, since Trump has been in office, inflation has gone up 3%. Just so you know. But he did send $500 billion instantaneously to the richest people on earth. The people with the top 1% with the most wealth on earth. As soon as Trump got into office, he broke them off $500 billion right off the rip. What are you going to do? Didn't do anything about groceries, didn't do anything about rent, didn't do anything about gas prices, didn't do anything about eggs, milk, anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But let's take a look at what Trump thinks of religion, because this person right here literally is his spiritual advisor. This is the spiritual advisor of the White House and Donald Trump. So this is Paula White, and I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to speed it up. You're going to hear it right from her own mouth. And whatever is going on the stage, I don't understand it, but it's whatever. You'll see.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says, it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven, in the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka deda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashada. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus, from South America, they're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound of victory. I hear the sound.
Okay, once again, this woman is a pastor or a preacher, and she is heavily into not spirit cooking, but prosperity preaching. You see what I'm saying? And if she knew the Bible at all enough to be a preacher, she would know that she cannot be a preacher. And that just blows me away. And that lady right there, that is what an absolute demonically enhanced lunatic looks like. Pretending to speak in tongues. Meanwhile, some dude in shorts and some kid that looks like a bum from college is just wandering around on the stage looking at a book holding a piece of cloth. I find it really, really strange. And this lady's antics go on and on and on. And Trump picking her makes Christians look stupid. Trump picking her makes Christians understand Trump doesn't know anything about Christianity. And he wouldn't. Why would he? Trump doesn't care about Christians. Christians are the #1 persecuted religion in America right now. You say anything about God, you are smitten. You mention God in a video, the video's demonetized or taken down or struck or shadow banned or things of that nature. What was the first thing Trump did besides giving $500 billion? We're going to beat the national debt. The second he gets in office, he spends $500 billion. But what was the other thing that he did? Did he sign anything to save Christians, to keep Christians safe, to allow Christians to speak as they want and not have the fear of being ridiculed, arrested, or something? Let's take a look. So in 2019, Trump signed an executive order aimed at combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. Cool. And then on January 30th, 2025, he signed another one. And it was an executive order signed and outlines a broad federal crackdown on the explosion of anti-Semitism in the U.S., especially on college campuses, and he'll cancel visas if foreign students are Hamas sympathizers or pro-jihadist protesters. Great. So anybody that is looking at what Israel is doing, which they don't have to do very much longer, because Trump's also telling everybody, we're going to go to Gaza and America's going to take Gaza over. I'm at a rest stop. I'm parked as far from the highway as I can. But it's absolutely crazy, man. Everything he's doing isn't helping America at all. He's going to get America into another war, claiming that anti-Semitism is the most important thing in the country. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable to me that these guys want to turn Gaza Strip into luxury condos so bad and completely eradicate these people. I showed you the pictures last time. It's absolutely brutal what's happening in Gaza. And again, 45% of the people that are getting smoked, wiped off the face of the earth in Gaza are women and children, specifically children. And they're turning the place into an absolute wasteland, just like they did with the wildfires in Los Angeles, just like they did with the hurricane in Asheville, just like they did in Hawaii, just like they do wherever they want the New World Order to be. Whatever their plan is, they just simply wipe it out one way or the other. And apparently Israel's taking too long for whatever reason, so America's got to step in. That's what Trump's doing. That's his. You don't hear Trump saying one thing about food prices, gasoline prices, rent, people that are losing their homes to the banks. Government is supposed to protect you from the banks taking advantage of you. And instead, the government is taking advantage of you. Government is to protect people from corporations, banks, and other countries invading our borders. And yet we just found out that they've spent, I told you they did this, hundreds of millions of dollars flying immigrants in and then putting them up at hotels. And now you've got Doge coming out, and people are like, Doge is exposing everything. Doge is a distraction to keep you busy while Trump keeps signing things that are absolutely anti-American and are going to kill you in the long run, if you don't get the mark. And why would I even talk about the mark? Well, because of this.
What's the sense in the penny? It's the debate resurfacing yet again in D.C. President Trump posting on Truth Social saying he's directing the Treasury to stop minting new pennies because they cost more than a cent to make. So is the move penny wise or pound foolish? People have been trying to get rid of the copper coins, now mostly made of zinc, by the way, for decades. That's because it costs a pretty penny to make a penny. Trump isn't the first president to consider axing the coin. President Obama floated scrapping the penny 12 years ago.
Anytime we're spending more money on something that people don't actually use, that's an example of something we should probably change.
But the administration wasn't able to execute on the cuts.
You just get all these objections. You know, what happens to Lincoln's face that is on this? What about the states we're buying the copper from? How do they update the cash registers? And I confess, and I'm not proud of it, that eventually I just got worn down.
Nowadays, the U.S. Mint says making each penny costs more than 3.5 cents, and that when you add them all up, it equals a more than $85 million loss for the federal government in 2024. Other countries have already rid themselves of their pennies. Canada discontinued theirs more than a decade ago. Australia and New Zealand nixed theirs back in the 90s. Some are passionate about their pennies. The pro-penny group Americans for Common Sense, yes, with a C, is run by Mark Weller, a lobbyist for the zinc industry. Its website cites reasons for seeing the other side of the coin, pointing out the penny's usefulness in charity donations and concerns that losing the 1-cent coin would cause merchants to round up to the nearest nickel, raising prices on consumers who pay with cash.
The trend in other countries suggested to us that it would be a good idea to get rid of the penny, that it just was not at all necessary. Lots of countries do without them and do just fine.
So here you go. Donald Trump has everybody behind them because Doge is completely distracting everybody. They're pulling up ridiculous things like hamsters on steroids wrestling. They're studying hamsters on steroids wrestling. This isn't real. These things aren't real. They're not showing you the real deal. They're showing you some atrocious things to get people absolutely, completely outraged. But
Because if you look at the waste and abuse that has run through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on.
USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India.
$6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan,
$122 million of that to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations.
$47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap.
I'm going to show you this right now. Get your money out of the bank. And I'm going to show you right after this exactly why. It's worse than the digital dollar, what I'm going to show you. But get your money out of the bank. Turn your 401k or your IRA, or at least half of them, into gold and silver. And when you do this, make sure you don't just get gold ounces or gold plates or gold. Get gold quarters, gold dimes, gold nickels, smaller denominations so that you can trade. Because if you plan on remaining till the end, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have to get the mark or not. You know what I mean? These guys know exactly what they're doing, and Trump is literally doing it, and he will have the backing, unlike everybody else. Obama couldn't get away with it. Do you remember the minute that they pulled the pandemic, the first thing they tried to push through Congress? We're in a worldwide lockdown. The entire country is locked down. Nobody goes to work. Nobody goes to school. Nobody does anything. Worldwide pandemic. Quickly, they tried to push the digital dollar through. You remember that? And it didn't pass. But now, with Trump's support, it will absolutely pass. And as soon as they get rid of the penny, they're going to say get rid of the nickel, because making the nickel and the dime and the quarter costs more than making the penny. Because I told you this. I've told you this for years. None of them they used to be made out of copper. Copper, nickel, silver, and gold. Now they're made out of zinc, and zinc. That's it. They're worthless. They took everything of value out of this country, and right now, you're going to see exactly why. You know what I'm saying? Get your money out of the bank. I can't stress this enough. And when you do get your money out of the bank, and when you tell them what you want, get smaller denominations. Mix it up. So that way there, if you meet somebody, you don't have to just beg them or rob them. You can deal with them. And instead of trying to buy something that doesn't cost an entire ounce of gold, you can give them 1/10 of an ounce of gold. That's what I carry. That's what you should carry. That's what everybody that's done this, basically, for the most part, has carried. But listen to this. This is utterly insane.
But here it is in black and white. This was in Reason a little over a week ago. The government says money isn't property, so it can take yours. Yay! In a jaw-dropping argument, the Department of Justice claims seizing $50,000 from a small business doesn't violate property rights because money isn't property. And I'm just going to read this article. It says, as a lawyer who sues the government, you get used to the different kinds of arguments that government lawyers use to justify abuses of individual rights, sweeping claims of government power, bad faith, procedural obstacles, and more. This was a new one. The DOJ argued that confiscating $50,000 from a small business did not infringe on the business's right to private property because money is not property. Quote, money is not necessarily property for constitutional purposes, the government's brief declared. This is a legal brief, okay? Putting the very idea of property in square quotes. Reading at my desk, I practically fell out of my chair. The DOJ gave 3 rationales for the argument, all packed into a doorstopper of a footnote, and listen to the first 2. Number 1, the government creates money, so you can't own it. Because the government created it, you cannot own it. That's the first argument.
What can money be used for? What is money anyway? Not yours, bro. According to the Justice Department's lawyers, money is not necessarily property for constitutional purposes. And because the government creates money, you can't own it.
That's the first argument they're making. Number 2, the government can tax your money, so you don't own it. So the power to tax you means you don't own it.
Also, the government can tax your money, so you don't own it.
And number 3, the Constitution allows government to spend money for the general welfare. I don't even understand how the third one comes into this at all.
The fact that recently hit the headlines, recently in 2025, means that's what they're getting ready to do. That's exactly what they're getting ready to do. They're going to go to the digital dollar, and they'll do whatever they'll blow up, they'll hack, they'll empty everybody's bank accounts and blame it on Russia or right-wingist or anti-gay people or anti-Semitic people. Whatever they have to do, they will do. We have seen that. And who knows, any day now, any minute, they could pass a law or an executive order that doesn't allow you to take your 401k or your IRA out of the bank and do anything with it. Don't put it past them, because look what they're doing now. I drove to LA to meet somebody, and I couldn't meet him because they burned the entire thing down. I was there one night. When I got there at night, LA was there. When I woke up the next day, it was gone. They can do this. I've been warning you about this for years. Boeing showed us on their own YouTube channel back in 2016, directed energy weapons after they denied them all. You know what I'm saying? They're setting everybody up right now so that you understand that the government can just come take your money. It was in the paper. You didn't know that? They make it so it's not your property. That's completely and utterly false. Again, get your money out of the bank as fast as you can, because an event will be coming and everyone will stand behind it, and suddenly we'll be on the social credit system. And if you are what you think you are, you will not sign up for this. You will not go down with this. And actually, your credit rating wouldn't work anyways. You're going to have to endure to the end using gold, silver, and whatever you've managed to save on your own. Things that you've canned, things that you've saved, things that you've stocked up. But if you have absolutely no ability to trade, you're done. You're left with robbery or murder. You see what I'm saying? Plata or plomo, as Pablo Escobar used to say. I don't have a sponsor for anything. I have a big YouTube channel for jailbreak, and I don't take sponsors. The only reason I use these guys is because they're Christian, and everybody that bitches about it, oh, gold, silver, they've never actually signed up. Everyone that signed up, they've sent me videos. They've sent me emails saying, worked out really well. And a couple of times I've delivered it for them because I'm good like that. I'm not talking massive, $1 million setups, but I've delivered a couple and it was pretty cool. Stand by.
Whose money specifically was the government saying wasn't property? That of Chuck Sane, the owner of CS Lawn and Landscaping, a small landscaping business outside of Annapolis, which has been in operation for 40 years. Sane became a client of the Institute for Justice, which is a public interest law firm, when the federal government sought to impose over $50,000 in liability on his business through a trial, quote unquote, derisive air quotes, trial, held deep inside the bowels, I think he meant to write bowels, of a federal administrative agency. At said trial, both the prosecutor and the judge were employed by the same federal agency. So that's not really a trial, just by the way. That's not a fair and impartial trial if both the prosecutor and judge are employed by the same federal agency. That's called a snow job.
Members of the jury are dismissed.
So the Institute for Justice sued on Sane's behalf, arguing that before the government can impose that kind of liability, it has to provide a real trial before a real judge and jury.
Okay, the Department of Justice argued that the guy, the small business owner that the government stole $50,000 from, has no right to a real judge or jury because the government was only trying to take his money, not his property. You see where they're going? They're setting a precedent right now. They're setting a precedent so that when they take your money or take your bank account, they can say, well, it's not your property. It's not your property. It's not your property. Boom! I can't even believe this. But these guys have been planning this for a long, long, long time. And they know just exactly how to get it all done. And Trump is the perfect item because people are buying him hook, line, and sinker. But this is their plan.
I would like to thank each and every one of you for your hard work and dedication to our cause. In reviewing this year's progress, let me say that we have been highly effective in conditioning the people's minds to accept our solution to the world's problems. The energy crisis here in the United States was exceptionally successful worldwide, and we expect similar success with our upcoming food shortage. Our labor leaders have made great progress by causing confusion and work stoppages in all areas of the world. Financially, the dollar is being devalued even faster than we could have hoped. Politically, the public has lost total confidence in any form of government. The threat of universal war is a daily possibility. As you know, we ourselves do not need to hold any visible office of leadership. As a matter of fact, it's better that we do not. If we control the finances, news media, food, transportation, energy, we control everything. It is important that you, as world leaders, keep our program before your countrymen. With our World Bank and computer program operational, we now have the capacity to control the financial affairs of every human being on Earth by giving each person his own computer number. Anytime his number is used, we would know his financial situation at once. He could not buy or sell anything without his computer number. It will simplify their lifestyles tremendously. The end result will be a one-world monetary and government system that we alone will control. Yes.
What about the people who forget their number or their cards are lost or stolen?
We've made provisions for that. By using this laser imprinter, we can painlessly and permanently affix the person's number to the back of his hand or his forehead if he so desires. The numbers would be easily read by this new ultraviolet scanning equipment. For the purposes of demonstration, I've had such a number imprinted on myself. Once this number is imprinted, it cannot be lost nor can it be changed. Now, are there any questions?
What about the individuals who refuse to have this number implantation?
We expect some minor resistance, especially from highly motivated religious groups. But eventually, hunger will cause even the most zealous to conform to our program. Gentlemen, I believe that within a year, 2 at the most, our one-world government will be a reality. If we continue on our present course, it is my opinion that we could present the devil himself as a world leader, and the people would accept him.
So, this was a movie called Early Warning that was put out in 1981. And it's a strange movie because we're living it right now. We could present the devil himself. We could present the devil himself, and people would accept it. It's unbelievable to me. It's just unbelievable how people are accepting Donald Trump and every single solitary action. I mean, this dude started the second he got in, the minute he didn't put his hand on the Bible, the minute he didn't swear in putting his hand on the Bible, he got into action. $500 billion right out to the richest guys on earth. The richest guys on earth. Anti-Semitic laws. We're taking over Canada. We're taking over Greenland. We're taking over the Panama Canal. And we're taking over Gaza. Do you see what's going on here? This is going to get absolutely insane, and it's going to happen in the twinkling of an eye. Do you see what I'm saying? At any rate, that's all I got. I got to try to upload this. It's getting dark. I'm going to go start reading this book all over again. Confusion in Christianity. It's beat, but it's a good book, and it's good to have a big book around, and it's now available on Amazon again. The links will be below. At any rate, Richie from Boston, this is real. This is happening. I just presented you with all the facts, and this is exactly what's happening. There's no other, I mean, you can either believe in God or you can believe in Donald Trump. I'll stick with God. I'm out.